record the meeting. Ready when you are, Dave.
We ready for the other meeting? The IDA?
Yes, ready to call it to order and move forward here.
Okay, I'll call the meeting to order in the previous minutes. Any additions or corrections? If not, motion to accept the minutes.
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
All in favor? Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Number 3.
Katie, you want to walk through this one?
So this is for the Wayne County IDA to support the startup pitch competition. There are some additional costs that the IDA can support as an economic development activity. You know, it can't provide grants to businesses, but it can provide support. So this funding would be to assist with you know, advertisement and getting the word out and
Sorry.
but it would be there to support economic development activities through the startup pitch competition.
Any questions on that?
What's the budget for the support?
$10,000.
How many?
$1,000.
I'm sorry, I
Up
still didn't
to.
hear you. Up to 10,000?
Yes.
Okay.
I make a motion, we approve a resolution.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Next.
We have a project resolution for the board this month. It's for CNC Automatics, KP Industrial Inc. doing business as CNC Automatics. They have been a tenant to a building on West Shore Boulevard in Newark and are looking at building their own facility. It's about 8,800 square feet of total space, 7,000 or approximately 7,000 of which is manufacturing space. Trying to figure out total project costs are in the about $854,000 total project cost. And this is again the initial project resolution. We'll hold our public hearing now. The next board meeting, bring comments and another resolution to the board next month.
Questions? Motion on that?
A motion. It's a 15 new job total commitment. So 15 new jobs as part of their project.
I'll second.
All
I
in
just have
favor?
a quick comment on that is when I was reading the resolution, we had talked about putting people's names with the LLCs and the corporations, just so we know who the people are behind the loans. And it was just be helpful to see that in the resolutions too. So
Yeah.
that, you know, if anybody just has any thoughts.
I think that's an excellent point.
Yep, I agree.
Just going forward.
Yep, thank you. Sure, we'll work that in. Any other questions on this project or on the application, etc.?
Nope.
Do we have a motion in a second, Connie?
Yep.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Next.
Okay, Jamie, you want to take the screen for me?
Get off mute too.
Can everyone see this one? The
Yes.
summary report?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we took a little deeper dive analysis on the pilot. So this is for fiscal year 2019. So this is all of last year. We had a total of 43 open pilots. Of those 43, 5 did expire at the end of December last year. This is the net exemption value, and then how it's broken up into these here. So sales tax, there was no mortgage recording for last year, and then the real property.
Mhm.
And this is how it's broken up with the county, town and village, which is to parish reporting local, and then
Right.
school and library. We also went into every single pilot and actually looked at the numbers that were being reported to us and did a comparison on their previous history for the life of their pilot individually. So overall, the jobs before these pilots began was the total of them.
Mhm.
Between 2018 and 19, there was an additional 241 jobs created. And then beginning of each individual pilot through now is an additional 1,000 jobs.
Wow,
Those are for active pilots, by
That's-
the way.
that's great.
We did, by the way, talk this morning about including a little more information on the pilot revenue. So you can see, we're giving a lot of exemptions, or the total of the exemptions, but we are still realizing additional revenue based on the pilot contracts, and we'll put a little more detail on this, and we're gonna do this every year. So you guys will get a nice synopsis, on the back end of our audit and all the other data that we're collecting. But I think gives a really good overview of everything that's going on, including at the bottom there so Jamie was just getting to this. Jamie, go ahead. Let me interrupt you there.
So we dove into each and every single pilot. These are the ones that are performing to the expectations that are set upon in their application and in their closing. And then we also took a deeper dive into specific ones that are questionable. In the second chart, I also sent in, what Katie sent in the email, is a graph or a chart showing each individual one, their location, what year they are in their pilot, and how many years their pilot is. These are the expired ones, their job numbers prior to the IDA project, how many they committed to making, their full-time equivalent last year and then this year, between the two and overall. And then here's just a little assessment we put together. Green is they're doing great, they're meeting their expectations. Red is something we really have to look at, and yellow is iffy, that we want to dive into. And those were the red and the yellow ones are right here in the summary, which Brian has contacted, and we're working on getting details from each one of them.
Jamie, I think Jamco was sold, wasn't it, to
Yes.
another company? So how does that play into this report?
So for last year, they actually closed. So yes, it was closed.
They're
Before,
done.
they were doing great and they were meeting their numbers.
Right.
And then at the end of fiscal year last year, they had 0, which is shown right here. So
Okay, yep.
technically, it shows negative 24 jobs.
So I have,
So
I
did
followed
they-
up with all, excuse me.
I was just questioning, so when she sold, did those jobs didn't go to the new company? Because they were bought.
At this
No,
point, we're
and
not,
Brian,
yeah, I mean.
I just was trying to figure out how this plays into something like that situation.
Yeah, I mean, if a project was sold and their pilot was continuing, the job commitment requirements would carry forward. Jamco's pilot is over, so they were in year 10 of 10 in.
Okay, so all right, all right.
So we don't have ongoing job collection information from the company that acquired Jamco.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, but I did, Jamie, if you want to just page up to the list there. I've discussed or talked to all of these, and I'm happy to walk through the details of each one. I'm personally satisfied that everybody's doing what they should be doing. A number of these, and then NMM properties, we terminated their pilot pretty recently. Northern Development Biodiesel is defunct, if you will. Connected to Harbeck, some details behind that. But happy to discuss any of these or all of them if you would like.
Hey, everybody. Like I said, you're gonna love this. I have to Zoom to another meeting.
Thank you, Ken.
All right, you guys have a good weekend, and thanks for everything at the meeting.
Thanks, Ken.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Why don't I walk through these very quickly? AUI, we just followed up with them pretty recently. AUI is a construction company. They have seasonal fluctuations on employment. So the number in the table there, I think it's reflecting, it did look like a pretty dramatic decrease from 18 to 19 from 44 to 20. But that's based on fourth quarter reporting. And you can imagine in the fourth quarter.
Brian, I leave to the other meeting as well.
Okay, Dave,
Thanks.
we'll take it from here. So AUI, construction jobs, construction related. Jamie and I reviewed some of the numbers and I had a discussion with them. They are very much meeting requirements, but again, seasonal fluctuations, quarter one and quarter two, jobs are up and things take a dip toward the end there. So we're going to be kind of looking at these on a case-by-case basis moving forward. And probably for a company like AUI is so seasonal, we're going to average their numbers. It's a little more accurate as to the year and the jobs they have. Legendary Autos in year 9 of 10 of their pilot. They also have some pretty substantial fluctuations in their business. I mentioned the biodiesel company. Walworth Plaza is where the Tops is. We had some concerns, if some of you would recall, a couple of years ago about the potential closure of that Tops store. The Plaza's struggling a little bit. We were lucky enough to keep the Tops there. They lost a couple retail tenants, but the Plaza owner is very actively working on filling those spaces. But that's the kind of explanation there. Garlock, they are in, I think, year 12 of 15 of their pilot, if I'm recalling correctly, 14 of 20, excuse me. So they have a very long pilot, a very complicated one, frankly. Their business has been changing and fluctuating over the last 10 years. Done a lot of restructuring and rebuilding of their business. But they are a good business and a substantial employer. You can see their employment numbers at 548 prior to the project. But lots of ebbs and flows with Garlock. Ken just dropped off. I'm sure he can provide some additional detail on things. But Lions Logistics was kind of a deep dive on our end. They were acquired in 2016 by a company called Jamestown Container. At the time, they did come back to the board and get review and approval of not only the change in ownership, but the change in the jobs. Not something that, frankly, was terribly documented back in 2016, but having a number of discussions with them, I'm confident that they're working towards and doing pretty good on their job stuff. You mentioned NMM and Jamco. Murphy Dow is another piece of real estate that was actually, Murphy is the real estate owner. Dow was the tenant, if you will. And Hansford, if you guys can recall, was a project or a company that was in Stuart Forest and Macedon, relocated to this property last year and consolidated and brought up a number of jobs from a business they acquired in the city of Rochester. So that's kind of in the works and as we speak. But I think they're doing pretty good. And then finally, Ranger Design. I had a great conversation with them. They did a pretty substantial reorganization of their business in the middle of last year. They had kind of ramped up based on projected sales. COVID came. They've been just completed really of their restructuring of their business as a whole. And in fact, are back up. They have 28 jobs as of just the other day when I spoke with them. They have 4 job openings and are in fact created a little side business that is sort of spurring off for them where they're making hand sanitizer stands and they're doing quite well. So I'm comfortable that they're, we look at the numbers, right, based on what they report for Paris. And we're certainly monitoring job creation and commitments. There are clawback provisions within our pilots, so we're mindful of that. But following up and understanding the economy is the economy. And there are ebbs and flows and changes and ownerships and other things that go on. So just making sure that we have the full picture and as part of our reporting, you know, you can look at numbers and think one thing, but taking the dive, I'm in heavy conversations. I'm comfortable with where things are with our flag pilots, if you will, and happy to answer additional questions if there are any. Any questions on this?
I don't have
any
a question,
further
but I just think
questions.
oh, sorry.
Comments? Questions? Julie? Was that you?
All I was going to say is, I think that this is an excellent report along with the map. And I think that it would really help us to focus in on, you know, just strategically where the IDA is going, you know, so that we can, you know, maybe target more businesses and help more people, you know. I just think it's really helpful information.
Good.
Ditto.
Yeah,
wanna
I
make
really
sure-
like this
appreciate it.
report. Report's great.
Yep.
Thank you.
We're very actively working to make sure you guys are informed and we're sharing as much detail as we can. I have I'm very open to ideas about how we could well, do more, if you will.
Brian, when you work with other IDAs, do you have insight or access to their strategic plans to know if there are some best practices that we should be adopting?
You know, I wish I could say IDAs were very regularly developing strategic plans. I have yet to see one, frankly. I think strategic plans tend to be in the executive director's head. Frankly, not terribly unlike where we are, but I have a plan, if you will, that I present to the county every year as part of the Economic Development and Planning Department that involves with the IDA as well as our planning staff and other planning projects. I'm trying to marry all that together as we continue to move forward here, and happy to elaborate on those.
Is that something that you want to, or that you would be able to present to this group?
Absolutely.
I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, you know, I'll say there's a lot going on, and I think things are starting to mesh together a little bit between our planning department and our economic development stuff with brownfield. I mean, this sort of reaches outside of our IDA or EDC or this department. We're doing a lot with the land bank. Planning staff's working on a lot of things related to brownfield redevelopment. We've got a grant from EPA. We're doing brownfield inventories. All that's going to come down to actions and opportunities for the IDA. Whether it's, you know, supporting different types of development projects, supporting developments in our urban core, the pitch competition, you know, small business development or that bottom-up economic development stuff. But certainly, you know, it also involves support of retention and expansion projects. I would be happy to, I think appropriately, maybe towards the end of the year, sort of walk through sort of a year-end summary and then how we're looking forward, if that makes sense to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, I'm happy to do that. Any questions on pilots, pilot reporting? This is kind of, I think, the back end summary of our final reporting to New York State on 2019. And again, moving forward, we'll certainly do this as a look back and, you know, our annual review of how things are performing on an annual basis. Seems like we're good.
Yep.
Yes.
Jamie, do you have the agenda up there or available? Want to pull that
I
back?
can. Did.
Jamie did walk through. Whoa. Jamie, do you have other numbers you want to walk through with folks here on or did we
Yeah,
cover?
we looked over the account balances. If you have any questions on them, let me know. We do have one last thing, which is a deferred revenue status report. Kind of want to start doing this periodically, at least maybe once a quarter or so. So these are the deferred revenue, like their project planning funds. So I kind of separated this off between each project with the project fund number. When we receive the funds in, if there's been a recent payment for that contractor, and then our balance. So this is separated per project. And then right here is our actual general, excuse me, general ledger account number fund balance.
So just to simplify all this, the county funds what we call project planning dollars in the county budget, and it's available to the IDA and development staff on an annual basis, at least for this year. I'll say moving forward, there are a lot of question marks, and we're certainly looking at budget adjustments going into 2021. But we have 2 active projects that are being funded or assisted in funding. One is a strategic plan for the Ontario Midland Railroad. That is a $75,000 commitment matched by another $75,000. So it's in total $150,000 strategic plan for identification of opportunities, whether it's improvements to the rail line or sites are a big part of what we're doing here. We're roughly 50% through that project. There were some pauses related to the COVID thing. I'm very excited about this project. I think it's going to highlight a lot of opportunity for us to really be proactive in marketing sites, targeting industries as opportunities to help, grow the economy here. And then at the bottom, the rest of those are done except for the brownfield inventory, which is being supported by a grant provided through a CFA funded in the 18 round of the Regional Economic Development Council funding. We're about halfway through that one as well. Again, some pauses related to COVID, but also very excited about this. This is very much connected to not only the EPA funding that the county and a coalition of folks, including the Economic Development Corporation and the Land Bank, are getting for environmental studies on targeted sites. So, part of that is identifying them all and then using that list and prioritizing investments based on economic opportunity. So 2 ongoing projects, and excited about them both. Any questions for me? Questions for Jamie? I think we're good.
I'm good.
I don't have any other particular updates. Our next meeting is July 24th at 9 a.m. TBD whether or not we do this in person or Zoom. Kind of watching the world turn day to day here. I'll tell you guys, this seems effective enough. I think certainly being in person in the same room helps facilitate a little more conversation. I absolutely appreciate that. I am of the mindset that I prefer to play it safe and minimize things to some extent until I get the thumbs up from all the health people who know a lot better about this than me. And I appreciate everyone attending and participating online. It's I know it's not easy and technology doesn't always cooperate, but with that, again, staff's doing a great job here, all things considered. And if anyone has questions, concerns, comments, thoughts, ideas, they're all welcome. And I appreciate everyone's participation on meetings and committees and outside of board meetings. I think we're all doing really great. Thoughts, comments from anyone? If not, we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Who was the second, please?
Okay.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very much. Enjoy
Great
your
job,
weekend.
everybody. I like the efficiency.
Have a good day.
Good job.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.